Good evening. Dinner time. Genesis 25. And Abraham took another wife, whose name was Keturah, and she bore him Zimron, and Yokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Yishbak, and Shuah. And Yokshan brought forth Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Asurim and Letushim and Leumim. And the sons of Midian were Ephah and Epher and Hanok and Abida and Eldaah. All these were the children of Keturah. Now Abraham gave all that he had to Yitzchak. But to the sons of the concubines whom Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts while he was still living, and sent them away from his son Yitzchak, eastward to the land of the east. And these are all the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 175 years. And Abraham breathed his last and died in a good old age, aged and satisfied, and was gathered to his people. And his sons, Yitzhak and Yishmael, buried him in the cave of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the field of Ephron, son of Sahor the Hittite, and the field which Abraham purchased from the sons of Heth. There Abraham was buried with Sarah his wife. And it came to be, after the death of Abraham, that Elohim blessed his son Yitzhak. And Yitzhak dwelt at Beer Lahai Roi. And this is the genealogy of Yishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Mistrian, Sarah's female servant, bore to Abraham. And these were the names of the sons of Yishmael by their names, according to their generations. The firstborn of Yishmael, Nebaioth, then Kedar, and Adbael, and Misam, and Mishma, and Duma, and Massa, Hadar, and Tema, Yetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. These were the sons of Yishmael, and these were their names, by their towns and their settlements, 12 chiefs according to their tribes. And these were the years of the life of Yishmael, 137 years, and he breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people. But they dwelt from Havilah as far as Shur, which is east of Mizraim, as you go toward Ashur. He settled before all his brothers. And this is the genealogy of Yitzhak, Abraham's son. Abraham brought forth Yitzhak, and Yitzhak brought forth. And Yitzhak was 40 years old when he took Ribkah as wife, and daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean, of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban, the Aramean. And Yitzhak prayed to Jehovah for his wife, because she was barren, and Jehovah answered his prayer, and Ribkah, his wife, conceived. And within her the children struggled together. And she said, "If all is right, why am I this way?" So she went to ask Jehovah. And Jehovah said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples shall be separated from your body. And one people shall be stronger than the other, and the older serve the younger. And when the days were filled for her to give birth, and see, twins were in her womb. And the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment, So they called his name Esau. We would say that Esau in this language. Ooh, there's a whole bunch of deer running through this field. And I wish I could show it to you, but I would not ever be able to do that on time. Okay, Esau. Verse 26, chapter 25, verse 26. And afterward his brother came out, with his hand holding on to Esau's heel. So his name was called Yaakov. And Yitzhak was 60 years old when she bore them. And the boys grew up, and Esau became a man knowing how to hunt, a man of the field, while Yaakov was a complete man dwelling in tents. And Yitzhak loved Esau better than, because he ate of his wild game, but Ribkah loved Yaakov. And Yaakov cooked a stew, and Esau came in from the field, and he was weary. And Esau said to Yaakov, Please feed me with that same red stew, for I am weary. That is why his name was Edom. But Yaakov said, Sell me your birthright today. And Esau said, Look, I am going to die, so why should I have a birthright? And Yaakov said, Swear to me today. And he swore to him, and sold his birthright to Yaakov. And Yaakov then gave Esau bread and stew of lentils, and he ate and drank, and rose up and left. Thus Esau despised his birthright. And there was a scarcity of food in the land, besides the first scarcity of food, which was in the days of Abraham. And Yitzhak went to Abimelech, sovereign of the Philistines in Gerar. And Jehovah appeared to him and said, Do not go down to Mizraim. Live in the land which I command you. Sojourn in this land, and I shall be with you and bless you. For I will give all these lands to you and your seed, and I shall establish the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. And I shall increase your seed like the stars of the heavens, and I shall give all these lands to your seed. And in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because Abraham obeyed my voice and guarded my charge, my commands, my laws, and my Torah. And Yitzhak dwelt in Gerar. And when the men of the place asked about his wife, he said, She is my sister. For he was afraid to say, She is my wife, thinking lest the men of the place should kill me for Ribkah, because she is good looking. Like father, like son. And it came to be, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, sovereign of the Philistines, looked through a window, and he watched and saw Yitzhak playing with Ribkah his wife. So Abimelech called Yitzhak and said, See, truly she is your wife. So how could you say she is my sister? And Yitzhak said to him, Because I said, Lest I die on account of her. And Abimelech said, What is this you have done to us? One of the people had almost lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us. And Abimelech commanded all his people, saying, He who touches this man or his wife shall certainly be put to death. And Yitzhak sowed in the land, and reaped in the same year 100-fold, and Jehovah blessed him. And the man grew great, and went forward until he became very great. And he came to have possessions of flocks, and possessions of herds, and of a great body of servants, and the Philistines envied him. And the Philistines had stopped up all the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham his father, and filled them with dirt. And Abimelech said to Yitzhak, "Go away from us, for you are much mightier than we." So Yitzhak went from there and pitched his tent in the Wadi Gerar and dwelt there. And Yitzhak dug again the wells of water, which they had dug in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham. And he called them by the names which his father had called them. But when Yitzhak's servants dug in the wadi, and found a well of running water there, the herdsmen of Gerar strove with Yitzhak's herdsmen, saying, "The water is ours." And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. And they dug another well, and they strove over that one too, and he called its name Sitnah. And he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not strive over it, and he called its name Rehoboth, and said, "For now Jehovah has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land." And from there he went up to Beersheba. And Jehovah appeared to him the same night and said, "I am the Elohim of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you, and shall bless you and increase your seed for my servant Abraham's sake." And he built a slaughter place there, and called on the name of Jehovah. And he pitched his tent there, and the servants of Yitzhak dug a well there. And Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzath, one of his friends, and Pekol, the commander of his army. And Yitzhak said to them, "Why have you come to me, seeing that you hated me and have sent me away from you?" But they said, "We have clearly seen that Jehovah is with you." And we said, "Please let there be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you do no evil to us, as we have not touched you, and as we have done only good toward you, and have sent you away in peace. You are now blessed by Jehovah." And he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. And they rose early in the morning and swore an oath with one another. And Yitzhak let them go, and they departed from him in peace. And on the same day it came to be that the servants of Yitzhak came and informed him about the well which they had dug, and said to him, "We have found water." So he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. And when Esau was 40 years old, he took as wives Yehudith, the daughter of Baari the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. And they were a bitterness of spirit to Yitzhak and Ribkah. And it came to be, when Yitzhak was old and his eyes were too dim to see, that he called Esau his elder son and said to him, "My son." And he answered him, "Here I am." And he said, "See now, I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, please take your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt wild game for me. And make me a tasty dish, such as I love, and bring it to me to eat, in order that my being does bless you before I die." And Ribkah heard when Yitzhak spoke to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt wild game and bring it. And Ribkah spoke to Yaakov her son, saying, "See, I heard your father speak to Esau your brother, saying, 'Bring me wild game and make me a tasty dish to eat, and bless you in the presence of Jehovah before my death.' And now, my son, listen to my voice according to what I command you. Please go to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, and I make a tasty dish from them for your father, such as he loves. And you shall take it to your father, and he shall eat it, so that he might bless you before his death. And Yaakov said to Rivkah his mother, See, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth-skinned man. What if my father touches me? Then I shall be like a deceiver in his eyes, and shall bring a curse on myself and not a blessing. But his mother said to him, Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go, get them for me. And he went and fetched them and brought them to his mother. And his mother made a tasty dish, such as his father loved. And Rivkah took the best garment of her elder son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them on Yaakov, her younger son. And she put the skin of the young goats on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. Then she gave the tasty dish and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Yaakov. And he went to his father and said, My father. And he said, Here I am. Who are you, my son? And Yaakov said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you said to me. Please rise, sit, and eat of my wild game, so that your being might bless me. And Yitzhak said to his son, How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because Jehovah your Elohim brought it to me. Then Yitzhak said to Yaakov, Please come near, so that I feel you, my son, whether you truly are my son Esau or not. And Yaakov went near to Yitzhak, his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is the voice of Yaakov, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy like his brother's Esau's hands, and he blessed him. And he said, Are you truly my son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and let me eat of my son's wild game, so that my being might bless you. So he brought it near to him, and he ate. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Yitzhak said to him, Please come near and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his garments, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is like the smell of the field which Jehovah has blessed. And Elohim give you of the dew of the heavens, and of the fatness of the earth, and the plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be those cursing you, and blessed be those blessing you. And it came to be, as soon as Yitzhak had finished blessing Yaakov, and Yaakov had hardly left the presence of Yitzhak his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he too had made a tasty dish, and brought it to his father, and said to his father, Let my father rise and eat of his son's wild game, so that your being might bless me. And his father Yitzhak said to him, Who are you? And he said, I am your son, your firstborn, Esau. Then Yitzhak trembled exceedingly and said, Who was it then who hunted wild game and brought it to me? And I ate all of it before you came, and I have blessed him. Yes, he is blessed. When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with an exceedingly great and bitter cry, and said to his father, Bless me, me too, O my father. And he said, Your brother came with deceit and took your blessing. And Esau said, Was his name then called Yaakov? For he has caught me by the heel these 2 times. He took my birthright, and see now he has taken my blessing. And he said, Have you not reserved a blessing for me? Then Yitzhak answered and said to Esau, See, I have made him your master, and all his brothers I have given to him as servants. I have sustained him with grain and wine, and what then shall I do for you, my son? And Esau said to his father, Have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me too, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Yitzhak his father answered and said to him, See, your dwelling is of the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of the heavens from above. And by your sword you are to live, and serve your brother. And it shall be, when you grow restless, that you shall break his yoke from your neck. And Esau hated Yaakov, because of the blessing with which his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father draw near. Then I am to kill my brother Yaakov. And the words of Esau, her older son, were reported to Ribkah, and she sent and called Yaakov, her younger son, and said to him, See, your brother Esau comforts himself concerning you to kill you. And now, my son, listen to my voice, and rise, flee to my brother Laban in Haran, and stay with him a few days, until your brother's wrath turns away, until your brother's displeasure turns away from you, and he forgets what you have done to him. And I shall send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereaved of both of you in one day? And Ribkah said to Yitzhak, I am disgusted with my life because of the daughter of Heth. If Yaakov takes a wife from the daughters of Heth, like these who are the daughters of the land, what is my life to me?